we're gonna go to and today's topic, guys. One of the main topics that I always love telling. If you don't know who Miss Carrie Polero is, right? You gotta notice her posts. If you want to notice her posts at Carrie Polero dot on Instagram, Facebook, and everything else. But today's topic was what was the topic, Carrie? What is a good man, right?
Yeah. What is a good man?
Because she's living it. All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Carrie and Gordon Show from Boundaries and Brother. I'm your host, Gordon Watt, and today's show is going to be what makes a good man, right? Some of Carrie's posts is so deep that I always like to follow her lead. Carrie, as usual, introduce yourself. People are going to start jumping on because the topic is so juicy. And she's going to talk about what we're going to be addressing and figure out a way while I get the rest of our technical crap going. You tell us what we're going to be talking about and where to find you with the post, what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Carrie Polero. I help high achieving women stop chasing love and start choosing themselves. So today we're going to talk about going beyond the surface, like what makes a good man or what makes a good man? Like how does a good man actually show up? Because I think a lot of the misconception is it's at least my experience has been a lot of taking energy from younger females of, oh, it's important that he takes me to fancy dinners and he
Right.
wines and dines me. And because today, I mean, and let's be real, everything has to be Instagram worthy. Like we have to document the Instagram worthy moments. And so I think it puts a lot of pressure on men on what it's supposed to look like. And everything looks good from the outside, but it doesn't mean that guarantees the deeper kind of relationship and love that a woman who claims she's the prize really desires, Because it's much deeper than that. For me, I think what matters the most is, like, can he communicate?
No.
I don't want to guess and decode like what you're feeling and what you're thinking. I want clarity. I want open lines of communication. I also want someone that appreciates that from me as well.
Oh, absolutely 100%. That makes so much sense because one of our posts is like, you can have the money, you could be 6 foot tall, you could be making $150,000, what you see on TikTok and everything else. But if you're not happy with yourself and you cannot communicate with your man, where is that going to take you? It's not
Right.
going to take you really nowhere. Talk about how it affects the nervous system. If you're a woman or you're a guy watching this, and here's the worst part, Carrie. Watch this. We're streaming on my personal channel. We're not even on my Boundaries and Brotherhood channel, but screw it. We're just going to run with it because I'm not going to start this all over. It's so juicy. If you don't know how to communicate and you'd have communication techniques and everything else, what does it do to your relationship and your nervous system as a female? And for us males too.
Yeah, it's about how safe and alive I can feel in my body. Like,
Absolutely.
it's not about what looks good, but for me, like a surface level romance is like dysregulation because like the whining and dining, like all of that stuff is just like a temporary, like we talked about this last week, like a temporary dopamine hit. But if he can't communicate, if he can't hold my standards and if he holds my nervous system on edge, if it stays on edge, like I'm a no, because I'll end up in this like fight or flight. I'm going to be overthinking, like, what does he mean? Second guessing his intentions and
Yeah.
waiting for the other shoe to drop. And that doesn't light up my body. It
Yes.
doesn't feel safe. It doesn't
And
feel
yeah,
safe.
oh, that's security.
That's
That's
the
the
thing.
it's
And
that
on the
that's a
flip side of that too, it's like I'm responsible for feeling safe. You're right. Like I'm responsible for grounding myself and saying, hey, like I made this choice. Like if I'm out with someone, okay, well, I chose to come out to dinner with them and whatnot. And yes, I am safe and I can leave at any time. And that's the whole thing is recognizing that no matter where you are in the relationship, you have the ability to choose out, period.
absolutely 100%. You have the choice. You're looking for the type of attention, but he's not giving it to you in different ways. How does that make you feel both for your relationship as a whole or the security level that you have? because security levels and attention, time, and like I see a lot of these people on the dating scene because everything is just a mess and everybody's just a tape. When you find somebody that makes a good man that can communicate, be your stability, talk to you about straight out if you need to do, but also be able to make you feel attentive, get the attention you want. How does that make you feel when you find that, right?
When a man can communicate and like respect my boundaries, create safety, man, like my body feels like I can exhale. And then
Mm,
and then it's like I stop scanning for red flags, right? Like, because I'm always going to be looking for the red flags. I think I know that the prize feels grounded. She feels steady. She
okay.
feels free to express herself because her nervous system recognizes that I'm safe here. Like I can relax. I'm safe here.
Okay.
And
Okay.
a safe nervous system means I have enough stability to invite in passion, play, laughter, intimacy. Like it feels safe to say yes to all of those things,
All angles.
all the different angles, and rather than me just saying no, like armoring up, right? Like when I don't feel safe, like I'm armoring up because now I'm like, okay, then I get in my head.
That's so funny because I just did a faceless video on wear your scars like an armor because you deserve them. But the flip side of that is your scars is your armor for all the past mistakes you made, all the
Right.
bad choices you made. Because now you know the red flags that you're looking for in a man, or say you're a man watching this channel and you don't know how to do it,
Mhm.
right? To get not say a high value woman, but somebody you can share life with as a bonus in life versus you got to show us something out and you simp it, right? Or anything else. Because women don't like simps. They're going to use everybody for what they are. I said, me as that used to run girls used to do it also. I
Mhm.
get that info. I get how it is. How do women see a good man now? What is the caliber now? How do you see it? Oh, in fact, some of your clients, what is some of the, because I know you want to jump on something right now because your eyes is like, oh, something popped in your
Mm.
head.
I think there's surface level good, like what we've been conditioned to notice. And so it's important to recognize that there's a difference because many women are taught to equate good with checking boxes like he has a good job, he dresses well, he pays for dinner, he post me on Instagram? Does he say the right things?
Oh, kind of shit.
Yeah, I mean, those things feel nice, but they don't guarantee safety. They don't guarantee fulfillment, and they kind of make you feel stuck in a performance because I'm always looking for the good on the outside. Like,
Oh, the
and
performance thing
and
again.
the
Yeah.
performance thing, right? Because the anxiety is what's on the inside. It's like, okay, these things are going to fulfill me briefly. But what actually lands in the nervous system is communicating openly instead of leaving her guessing, respecting her standards without making her feel like she's too much,
Okay.
celebrating her wins. Oh my God, that's so huge. Like, you want a partner that's going to celebrate your wins instead of competing or criticizing or shrinking. Like, let me build you up. That's so important. Like, I don't want your feedback as to what you think is not working in my life. I want you to celebrate my wins, right? Because the more you praise something, you're guaranteed to. It's just it's think about it like, and I know people might get pissed at this, but this is awesome. It's about like a dog, right? Like you're training a dog. What do? You give them when they do something good, you reward them, right? So it's you reward the wins, and that just makes a woman like jump into joy and like, oh my God, he's
Mm.
noticing me.
You
Um,
compare yourself to a dog.
yeah, I did. No, I mean people in general. And I'm just
Yeah,
thinking of it like
but I get that. Right.
like rewarding. Yeah, I was thinking I did something yesterday with my dog, and I looked at Abel and I go, oh my God. And he's like, yeah, she is so smart. And I'm like, oh my God, she really learns like that. And it's true in relationship. Like we learn, like I
True.
learn to share with you. If you're going to support me and you're going to celebrate with me, then of course I want to share with you. But as soon as you start criticizing me and telling me the things that I'm doing wrong, I start to hold back. I don't feel safe sharing with you. I don't want to be criticized, right? I already know the things that I can improve on. Bash me.
But see, that's the thing. Even like for myself, I'm guilty of that all the time. I guess because I'm a guy, right? Because guys want to fix problems all the time, especially when you have all this information. Like for Abel, he has information, he has styles, he does this for a living. I solve problems, I make things happen. But then Andrea told me one time, you don't have to give me advice all the time. I just want you to
Oh,
listen to me. So she goes, we had a problem like the other day. She goes like, she told me after, thank you for just listening and not always trying to give me advice or feedback. Where I'm thinking, I need to give her feedback and fix the problem. Some guys just, it's not like women don't want you to fix their problems or fix the things. It's just that that's a fine line for me too. How does that work from your point of view?
oh my gosh. So I've learned that when I want to have a conversation and I just want him to listen, I will share
Mm-hmm.
with him, hey, I just need you to listen that
Just
I
tell
can
them
get this
straight.
out so that I can get this out. And after I get it all out, the chances are I'm going to ask for some feedback. But a lot of times, as I'm communicating it, I come to my own conclusion as I'm communicating to him. And then I'm like, oh, wow, you know what just came up for me is this. You know what? What are your thoughts on?
Absolutely.
And I think also that a lot of it has to do with what energy am I in
Oh,
as
that's not
far
true.
what energy am I in when we're having a conversation? Because if I'm not feeling good about myself, like that's not the time to like have a conversation like that because no matter what he says, I will take it defense. I'll be defensive. Doesn't matter what he says. He would be like, "Oh my God, that's an amazing idea." I'd be like, "You're lying. You think it's stupid."
Right? No, absolutely. So from a female's point of view, what would be the 10 top traits that make a good man? Knowing what you've been through in life. Carrie used to be strong, independent, feminist, all this stuff. And she's learned different ways from her coaching and everything, all the work she's put in for herself. Now, if you was to rank the 10 top qualities, give me 5 qualities.
Well, I
What?
think every person's different. But like for
True.
me, integrity. Integrity is like number
Oh,
one because it is so, like if he says what he means and follows through, like his words and actions need to match. Because if his words and actions match, that means I'm not second guessing myself. Like there's a safety there.
what do you mean
Honesty.
second guessing yourself? If he doesn't come true with his word, do you start second guessing your choice as or because he doesn't have integrity or the confidence versus oh explain that that kind of like gets me because everybody has to have integrity. I guess
Yeah,
but I
everyone
guess
gets to have integrity.
nobody else it doesn't have to come in certain forms that make you feel
I
interesting.
think what comes up around integrity with what you're talking about is consistency. So if he's
Okay.
inconsistent and he says some words, right, he doesn't always follow through, then he's inconsistent. And then I start to, now I'm second guessing, like, is
Oh,
he going to show up this time? Maybe he is.
I see that
He
okay
doesn't
that makes
show up
complete sense.
steadily.
Yeah.
How am I creating this from responsibility?
Is it
Where am I not in integrity with myself? And
that's what
where am
I
I
that's what I'm
inconsistent
going.
with
Yeah.
myself? The one thing that I have absolutely learned is everyone is just a mirror for who we're being. And so if I'm recognizing there's lack of integrity and then there's inconsistency,
True.
it's like, okay, from responsibility, where am I showing up
True.
that way in my life? It's not about blaming the other person and going, well, I just had to walk away because this person couldn't show up this particular way. How are you showing up? Because you are just attracting the way that you are being, period.
Absolutely. That's 100%. That's what I tell Andrew. It's like your friends are your reflection of how you treat them, how they treat you and everything else. Like you could have if you strip away all the financial, you strip away all the stuff, how are they without the crap? And that's what I look at. Like you said, integrity. Are they confident? Do they make decisions? Can they
Mhm.
be self-reliant? Can they be accountable and admit even though you might not like their style, even though you might not like their style of doing things, they're entitled to have their way of doing things. What would be another one, Carrie? Number two.
Oh, number two would be respect for standards, honoring boundaries.
Okay.
Honoring
That's
boundaries, and also there's a level of leadership too, leadership with
okay.
the partnership. So the fact that he's going to take initiative, he's going to make decisions, he's going to lead, and at certain points he can value like my input
Okay.
because we do get to co-create, but at the same time like I'm not supposed to solve his problems. So that's one thing that like I I'm an analyzer. I love to solve problems,
Okay.
but that doesn't work in relationship.
Give an example of how, because you used to be a strong type, independent, that type of woman that never did that. How did it change? Give me an example. The stuff Carrie tells me works. And the stuff I tell Carrie works to make her understand a lot of different things. And this is the synergy me and her have, which is perfectly the best because you know it's pretty good when your wife says, Carrie's right.
Well, I think there's a level of respect where the man is the leader, right? And so
Yeah.
because he's the leader, it's not, I'm not here to fix him. And because I'm used to solving problems at work.
Yeah.
So at work, the pattern is I see a challenge, I'm going to fix it, I'm going to get rewarded. And so I try to do the same thing when I get into a relationship, right? I'm trying to coach him through his issues, right? I'm trying to organize his life. I'm trying to hold space for his emotions while I'm also ignoring mine. And then I'm trying to
Oh,
become his coach, his therapist. What ends up happening is like I'm becoming a mother. I'm not a partner, and that doesn't
oh,
land with men.
that's
And
deep.
then there comes this like resentment and frustration because it does not build attraction, it builds dependence and imbalance. And he already has a mom.
Look at her
Like,
talk.
really fired up about this.
Yes, I love it. You know why? Because she understands coming from it on from a different side. She was once on the other side. And to have it enlightened that way, to have it objectively basically open up a whole can of worms in a good way, it kind of made her go dive deep into not just answering herself because her post is like I right before we came on live, guys, I was saying her post is so deep. Unless you know the struggle, you don't know. If you know, then you recognize the game. Then you recognize the situation that she's worked out. And if you're not following her, go to Carrie Polero at Facebook and Instagram and figure out if it relates to you because you might have some problems or your other half might have some problems. Maybe she can give some guidance. Maybe she can give some things that might help you realize both on the stuff. This is why I have her, me and her have our Tuesdays, and me and Doc have us on Thursdays. Because it's almost
Yeah.
similar to everything that we talk about. We went over integrity, we went over boundaries, we went over leadership, we went over communication. What would be your fifth top deep? Getting some answers from her. Ooh. She's looking at me like I'm crazy.
My fifth would be emotional safety.
Oh, okay.
Communicating openly,
Nice.
receiving feedback, but not punishing the other person for being vulnerable. I
No,
think that's really
absolutely.
important.
Yeah. I mean, because you need to have communication respect and you have to have that level of, like her post said, you can have everything. You can have this, you can have your standards, you can have she can wine, you can have the money, you can have the, if you cannot communicate, we're going back to this,
Mhm.
what makes you anything good? Because now you're second guessing. Now you're second guessing attention. Do I have to perform when he comes home? All this kind of crap. And vice versa, especially like for in if you was to put myself in your shoes, right? He comes home, you work, everything, there's things going on. You don't want to be at each other's throats because like you said, he already has a mom. He wants a partner.
Yes. And so I think this is so important for women to really hear that when you begin to try to micromanage and organize and fix him, he doesn't feel like a man. And he doesn't feel like the man in the relationship. He feels managed, and that's different. And that
Very.
lowers the attraction. And she gets so exhausted by trying to earn love because she thinks she's being useful.
But
But
it's going the
no,
opposite.
it's complete opposite. And then her nervous system never relaxes into really receiving love from him. Instead of creating polarity, it becomes lopsided where she's leading, he's following, passion fades because he's more in his feminine. And it becomes this repelling energy with one.
So would you say by doing those actions and those behaviors, you demean your man, not even knowing it when you even had a good man?
Right, because you think you're being useful. You think you're being useful because this behavior has worked for you for a period of time. At least this has been my experience is the behavior worked for me at work, in school. You know what I mean? Like this is learned behavior. But what really works is respect and space to lead, like giving him respect and space, allowing him to contribute, to solve the problems, because men thrive when they feel trusted and capable. And that was something that came up in my relationship a lot in the very beginning. Was I feel like there's this lack of trust because I would ask a lot of questions. And the reason I would ask a lot of questions is because I love information. Like the more I feel like the more information I have,
The
the better
more
equipped I am to make a decision. And
so
in
I
the very
need
beginning, it like we were both kind of combating one another for that because I wanted to be able to be in control of whatever was happening.
control, right?
Oh my God. But the most important thing was for me to let go and like letting go. Because I remember he said to me one day, I would ask questions and he would say, this is a sneaky way of trying to control the situation because you really have
And
lack
he
of
got
trust. Yeah, he did. But I was trying to manage his choices instead of just learning how to receive.
true. I mean, that's a hard thing, especially when you're so into control and controlling everything, making the right decision with all the information you have. But that was your old side. That was the old Carrie. The five, like, hey, one of her old posts is like, when you're talking across the table from the 5-year-old you, right? Being chosen isn't the win. The real win is choosing yourself first so that love becomes overflow and not survival, right? How does that integrate with wanting or how to get a good man? Or what was our topic? I forgot our damn topic already.
It was all
How to
about being a good
find
man.
what is a good man
Yeah.
from a female's point of view, right? They say a good man are hard to come by. But if you're not ready and you're not open to receiving, like you said, if you wasn't ready,
Hmm.
how do you expect to get a good man? Or you're going to try and change him with all what Carrie was saying. You don't have the integrity. You don't trust yourself. You start performing because it's all fake. You're trying to lead with what kind of false values you bring into a good relationship when you have a good man, but you try to control the whole situation. You don't know how to let go. If you want to watch that video on our playlist, go to 2 weeks back. That's so funny, But that goes to show that for you to be chosen as a woman first with a good man, you have to kind of like Carrie says, be the prize in a way that you put yourself in a way that you're okay with yourself. You've been
Yes.
through the ringer. There's a communication breakdown, blaming thing and stuff. She put a post. I told her, put the post. You got to work on yourself to even be able to communicate with stuff because people are bonuses in people's lives. If not, I will
Yes.
cut you off in a heartbeat. It's like I
Hmm.
have no time, right? Because everybody's seeking for attention. How do women get good attention from a good man?
Define good attention. What does that mean?
Okay, good attention meaning not wanting to have a good partner, not just for the
Okay.
physicality or the infatuation like we did last week, right? If you're a good woman, how do you let a good man know how you answered?
By holding your standards and choosing yourself first.
Nice.
Because, and I'll give you an example.
I was just was like, give me a story.
I'll give you a story or a really good example. It's just like holding myself in my grounded energy. For example, this morning, Abel got up. He's clearly like irritable. He has a trial today. So
Oh,
he stayed
jeez.
up super late last night, planning for it. I already knew last night. I was like, okay, tomorrow he's probably not going to be the most pleasant person, right? Because he's so focused on what he has to accomplish today.
Going to
So
try.
this morning, he just wasn't the most pleasant. Now, I could have taken it personally, been so annoyed. He ran out of the house, didn't even say bye. I could have written so many stories in my head. However, I know that all of this has absolutely nothing to do with me, and it does not affect the way that I still show up for myself and choose myself. And so rather than spiraling into these stories, because those thoughts no longer serve me, and I think that's been one of the most important learnings I've
That's
had is the spiraling, the creating the story, catching the thought immediately. And then I'm like, oh, that doesn't serve me. let me let go of that. It's
That
just
is
like
huge.
coaching a client the other day where she always thinks that her partner is attracted to a different type of woman, right?
Whoa, whoa,
Thinner,
whoa.
more muscular, like all of these things, right? And I'm like, does that story serve you? Is it serving the
Oh,
relationship? Because no
right.
matter what, and she's like, well, I haven't said anything to him. But that doesn't matter because as long as you're thinking that thought, that affects the way you're showing up in your relationship and
I
the
was just,
energy behind everything that you communicate to him. And he will feel that. And then he'll start showing up a different way for you. And then you're going to go, see, I'm right.
you creating it though.
You're creating it. And so, like, recognizing that the thoughts that you think are so important because they set the tone of your energy and how you show up to your relationship, that is a powerful understanding because you do have so much more control than you realize.
Oh, you have all the control. You always have the control for everything else. You have control of your choices, your actions, your thoughts, how you react to it, everything else. How does that affect future selves?
What do you mean?
Like, okay, you tipped on the part where it's like, okay, you have control of everything else that you have going on from everything else. How much does it control the future self and what you and how you behave later if you don't nip it in the butt now, right? Because like your example, your story, Abe was gonna come home. He knew he had to do the work. You gave him his space. In other words, that's a notch for you, right? If your old self, old Carrie, oh my goodness, he didn't tell me bye, he didn't kiss me bye, something's going wrong. He's gonna come back. He's gonna come back and he's gonna be like, oh, now you're gonna get into a fight, an argument, or a resentment, like you said. Because you've noticed this and you knew his behavior, your behavior changed.
Because the way he shows up doesn't affect me and how I show up. Right, exactly. I'm responsible for my energy. And immediately when I wake up in the morning, I have my own little routine of like, okay, well, how am I get to shift into this really great energy. Today gets to be the most spectacular day, regardless of how someone else shows up in my space,
Mm-hmm.
still get to be committed to what I'm creating that day. The old me would have completely spiraled out of control and started trying to perform or fix. Oh my God, he must be mad at me. Well, let me make lunch and let me do this and blah, blah,
That's
blah,
what.
blah. It's like performing, proving, fixing.
Do you see some of your clients do this?
Oh, absolutely.
And what is the remedy after you diagnose Dr. Carrie Paluro? What are some of the things that you tell them to attract a good man? It was so funny because one of your other posts, I seen you was putting on the makeup or whatever and stuff like that, and you seen the other girls, the young girls, on their phone like this when they're in a makeup workshop. I'm like, what in the frick? Look, I said, you got to coach those people in the back of you. So give me, yeah, I mean, because they're trying to attract a good man, right?
Mhm.
Maybe it's again, maybe it's for the first time. Do they fix themselves first, or do they notice the errors in their ways first?
It's about, I get to choose me first. And so recognizing that, okay, where can I come from responsibility and my thoughts and my behaviors first? And getting myself emotionally grounded. Because, like, when my future self becomes that version of me, then that's the one that will and only entertain people that meet a specific standard that I have, like
Mm.
that will respect my boundaries. There'll be no more roller coaster bullshit, no more situationships. It will be safety, joy, devotion. And the only reason that it will be that way is because I am creating that within me. There'll be
So,
peace.
so you have integrity, safety, and devotion could be 6 and 7 on what
Mhm.
makes a good man. Because we went over this. You have you have integrity, boundaries, the respect level, but devotion is huge. But from a guy's point of view, right? Say I wanted to devote everything to my family, to Andrea, my wife, which we do, because at the end of the day, we're a partner, right?
Right.
We're a partnership in life, basically. What makes the old me wouldn't even stand half the shit going on in my household right now. But like you said, you asked last week, what is my version of love? Is sacrifice.
Mhm.
Love is sacrificing everything that you have to do for the greater good, but knowing I have the emotional intelligence and the control to even have when something goes sideways. Like when I look at my kids are a direct reflection of what a good man is supposed to be. Do I have my quirks when I yell? Absolutely. Do I get mad? Absolutely. Do I get frustrated? Absolutely. And it shows in my kids. I'm like,
Mhm.
where did you get that from? You, dad? I'm like, what? Oh, so now I have to change that. It's
That's
like,
awesome.
where did you go? How? Why are you so angry? He said, because, right? Because you get frustrated. Right? And also reflects in your partner of what makes you a good man. A good man is be able to change, to take accountability, to
Mhm.
have your boundaries, both for your family, the woman you're in, your partner, whatever you got going on, and having the emotional intelligence capability to change and to figure it out when it does come into effect. Because if you don't, I push the other person away.
At From a man's perspective, what is the most what are the top 5 qualities for you when picking a partner? Like, what were the 5 things that you were like, "Oh my," like, you were like, "Andrea's the one." Yeah.
You got to be straight up honest and everything. Whether you're not worried about, because I don't want to be dancing around the feelings, especially at my age after coming out of prison. You have no time for all the games, like you said, the performance, right?
Mhm.
I need to know what kind of goals you have in life. Where are you working towards, right?
Mhm.
So if you're a woman and you have to be able to take self accountability, right? Because if you have no self accountability and you don't have ways to correct yourself, like say for you example, right, Karen? If you didn't put into work for yourself years ago, you wouldn't be this person you are today. You wouldn't have a collaboration with me. You wouldn't have able. You wouldn't have a lot of different things that's moving forward. You would have some sort of systematic goals so that you can, let's say, be able to work things out. It kind of latches on to communication, but you also have to have a trigger point where it's like, say you, like what Abel said, you got to be able to deal with your feelings and come back and talk to me. Because if you don't have that, it's just going to blow up for nothing, really. And fifth, I would think, besides being for a woman, is not being always right,
Oh, that's a good one. Oh
right?
my god, that's a good one.
Because
Yeah.
for women, women like to be right all the time. I get it. Guys, like you coming from two different animals, different planets. Why do you always have to be right? Even though I have statistical, factual proof, or from my experiences, this is how I've dealt with it. We just had this go on the other day, right? I'll give you an example, Gary. So she's going on this thing with her friends and stuff like that. And I go, from my past experiences, from dealing with so many different people and what I've been through, sometimes I just cut it off. I let go. Let the people go. So if there was meant to be in a word, they would communicate, they would talk to you, because why would you hold me to a standard as your husband, as your partner, but not for your friends, right? Oh, but now you start making excuses for this person. I don't want to hear that. I've been through this stuff many, many times in my life. People got hurt because of this, physically. But why do you always have to be right?
Oh man, like that story really resonates with me because it's everywhere in your life, not even just your friends, like
True.
clients.
Yes. Clients. Yep.
It's like I get to be in integrity with not just just with my boundaries and my standards for everybody around me. Like, you don't get a free pass. And I actually just went through this past year with I got to let go of some clients that were
We
not.
talked about it 3 weeks
Yeah, we
ago.
talked about that. And that was really difficult because there was this part of me that was like, I'm giving up on them. And that was not the case at all. It was, I am recognizing that I have supported this person to the degree that I can at this time, and they are more committed to staying in their situation than they are in moving forward. And it didn't feel good for me. And so I got to step away from that. They were no longer in integrity with their commitment to themselves and what they had committed to in the beginning of the container. And then for me, I get to stay in integrity with myself because, okay, this is what they committed to, and I get to hold them to that. And that's all the way across the board with all of my friends.
I'm gonna perfect example. Me and Carrie. Okay. She wants to laugh at this one. Long time ago, Carrie wasn't in her right space, right? She'll admit it. She was in the right space, but through the years, I've always kept in contact with her. I always gave her encouragement. I always said, you're on the right path. For close to 10 years, I have not met Carrie in person, but I've always encouraged her to do the right thing and keep on the course because the journey is vicious, right? But once you figure this out, the same with me at my Real Talk program with the kids, with the youth and the mother and me, people that I mentor and stuff. It's the process is vicious and some people do not make it. But that's a perfect example because once you get over that threshold of becoming a good man, of becoming a good woman, the keys, the stars, everything aligns for something that is so great that sometimes you're not even ready for it. But my friendship with Miss Calero is that a perfect example because came 2025, I reached out to her and said, you want to go jump on a podcast? And she jumped on because she was ready to talk about these things. Sometimes we don't know the direction we're going, but we make for good content. That's for damn sure. But the insights, the experiences, the knowledge she has to good woman, and we can talk as amongst friends and have that boundaries and have that accomplishment and have that open communication is what you want for your relationships. Only thing you get, I guess you would say, building a family, be intimate with your partner that you're going on. That's what we want for you guys. Because the journey that you might be in, now you think about it, Carrie, right? How did that make you feel when I reached out to you? From 10 years ago to now. Look, she's laughing.
I think what really landed for me in that moment was, wow, you don't give yourself enough credit for the growth that you've experienced.
That's unbelievable.
And the fact that other people recognize it, like Carrie, you get to receive because there's this internal part that wants to be like, yeah, but because there is this like idea that I'm going to arrive somewhere, right? I don't know where. So it keeps me on this journey of, oh my God, I got to keep going. Oh my God, I got to keep going because there's a story that runs in the background that you're not good enough. At least for me, there's a story that always runs in the background that it's not good enough until you get this, until you get this, until you get this.
Yeah.
And then when people recognize the growth within you, then it's like, whoo, hold on, let's halt for a minute here and receive and really take a look at where can you celebrate yourself. Other people are celebrating you. Why aren't you celebrating you? If other people can see it, why aren't you seeing it? And that allowed me to just recognize that like there's a shedding that takes place like every level of your life because it just demands a new version of you. And I realized that I was just shedding all of these old versions of me. And that's the process. And that's okay. I mean, that becomes the new normal, right? Like shedding the version of me who tolerated men treating me a particular way, or shedding the version of me who thought love had to be earned, shedding the version of me who confused intensity with intimacy. Like every time I shed this old version of me, I create space for the new version to come out. It's being in this constant state of I'm releasing what no longer serves the vision that I have for my love life, for my life in general, for my leadership, for my business, for my partnership, like everything.
Yes. Yes. And this is where, from when you asked me that question, Carrie, what makes a good woman? You're living it. Ooh. And so does Andrew. But you see, like you said, you don't realize it. It's like when Andrew was like, Andrew's flying away so I can have the life I have now with my kids. I got to give her credit.
Yeah.
You have to give your credit to yourself because of what you've been through. That's what makes a good woman. If you would say, do I make a good man? I like to think so, right? Period. But I could be wrong. But you understand that you hit it right on the head. You're shedding, but you're also making room for the newer version of you. You're always going 2.1, carry 2.2,
Yep.
carry 2.3. And that comes from your past. That comes from the experience. It comes from other people, right? That was a deep one. And it all started with what makes a good man. Hey, boy, I
Well,
got you.
and I think there's an important distinction to remember too, because like if I cling onto that old version of me, then I'm going to repeat the old patterns. But if I'm willing to shed that old version of me, the one that no longer serves me, then that's where I'm allowing the future self to come out, where like the my love feels safe, love feels steady.
Yes.
There's
Security.
yes, there's honor, that it's sacred. And the man that I desire doesn't get to meet the old version of me, the one that stays stuck in the past. He
You
wouldn't.
couldn't understand it anyway.
He gets to meet the elevated version of
And
me, the
that's
embodied prize that I am
yes,
today, right? Because
yes,
that's the
yes.
version that he's attracted to. He never would be attracted to that old version. And that's why it's
Not the
important.
caliber. Yeah, no
Absolutely
way.
not. And that's why it's so important to continue to do all of this work, because it's so easy to fall back into the old patterns.
You have more
Years ago.
practice than a lot of different people in the same situation that never came out of it. They're still,
Right.
I mean, they're still stuck. I mean, I still have friends like that. They're still stuck. And
Right.
to me, it's really, really sad, even though, but no, we're gonna end that. We're gonna end it with that because holy crap, we almost went to 50 minutes. Guys, if you need any coaching advice from Miss Carrie Palua, if your lady needs some help and you want to have her open up a whole can of worms, visit her at Carrie Palua on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And I'm Gordon Watt from Boundaries Brotherhood. Carrie, close the show.
All right, being the prize isn't a one-time shift. It's a constant shedding of that woman who always settled. So the woman who's choosing herself first can rise again and again. And mm,
Beautiful.
just percolate on that.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Same time next week. I'll see you next week. Aloha. Bye. Ooh.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to support us by subscribing to the channel and come join the conversation next week.